Okay. Hey guys, it's Phantom, and welcome back, or welcome to my channel for another episode of PC Reactions. Um, also, this video will have my new intro that I made because I was bored. I was bored yesterday and decided to make a proper intro for my channel. So yeah. Since I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, a slow day, I just thought that I could do some PC reaction episodes or reaction videos today, and then some gaming videos today also. So yeah, today I'm gonna be doing an episode on iJustine's channel. Well, regarding iJustine's setup. You've probably heard of her. She's a pretty popular gamer that I'm subscribed to. I can't remember how long I've been subscribed to her, but I've been subscribed to her for a while.
With Squarespace, editing and adding pieces on my e-commerce site is quick. Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm super excited to make this video for you today. This video is going to teach you a few things. Number one, how I shoot my YouTube videos. Number two, how I shoot my gaming videos. If any of you guys watch my vlogs, you know that I've been working really hard reorganizing and putting together IKEA furniture and trying to put it all together and become a little more organized. Everything that I talk about today, I will put in a link below. There'll be a collection that'll take you to more collections of either things that I think are cool, things that I want. I also have a camo collection. Make sure you guys check that out at the end of this video, or check it out now while you're watching the video at the same time. Put it in another tab. Do whatever it is that you do. So to start this video off, I'm going to start and show you how I would make a basic YouTube video. Now there's a bunch of different things that you can use. The easiest way to make a video for YouTube is to use either an iMac or one of the MacBooks. They have an iSight built in, comes with iMovie. Basically, you just turn on the camera, start talking, and edit in iMovie.
So this was like back when MacBooks actually worked. I mean, they still work. It's just like editing on them is absolutely difficult. Like, honestly, as a MacBook user, as you all know, I am a PC user mainly. But I did use a MacBook for almost, I don't know, 5 years maybe. And I kind of regret it now because, like, for YouTube you need to learn how to, for YouTube you need to learn to do things like edit, and I wasn't able to edit for a long time until I upgraded. So yeah, like, this was back when Macs actually did their job of, like, good editing. I don't know if it's just me or, like, if other people had this issue, but yeah, uh MacBooks aren't or Macs and MacBooks aren't designed for gaming. So, yeah. I mean, they did a pretty good job back then, but now it's just kind of chaotic. They're good computers, just not for gaming anymore.
When it comes to audio, I'm super picky. I always use either a blue microphone or a Yeti microphone, which just plugs directly into your computer using USB. As far as lighting, I like to shoot during the day and have daylight just wafting in. Honestly,
To be honest, okay, so, like, obviously you have to have a good mic, and I mean, like, do you? I mean, yeah, of course you do. But are things like headsets necessary? Sometimes. Sometimes they could be necessary. Um, you don't have to use a headset. I started out using one when I first started, but I have kind of bad luck with headsets. So, I barely ever use mine anymore. I mean, I use mine sometimes, just not all the time. So, yeah. Like ever since kind of upgrading my setup, I barely use my headset anymore. But I mean, there's still use for headsets. I just feel like for me, because with certain headsets, mm, you're prone to getting uncomfortable because there's stuff sitting on your ears. I mean, headphones are comfortable, but if you wear them for long periods of time, it can hurt.
The longest time before I actually got LED lights, I still to this day almost prefer using these simple stand lights. For actual videos like this, I just recently upgraded to a Canon 70D, and I by far would recommend this above all other SLRs because it does autofocus. But you can use many different microphones. Right now I'm using a Sennheiser wireless microphone, so I've got a microphone right here. If I'm shooting with more than one person, I will use the Rode video mic. It's also great because I travel a lot, so I like to be able to have things that are smaller and compact that I can just take with me on the go. Now, speaking of on the go, my iPhone is probably my #1 go-to camera when it comes to vlogging. It's easy, I always have it with me, and the audio is actually really fantastic. Next up, this is my ultimate favorite.
Like, okay, that makes sense if need a webcam or something, but for some, like, I just feel for me, like, you know, YouTubers don't have to use webcams if they don't want to. But I mean, it's an option.
Vlogging camera. It's not the best quality because it is a really old camera, but it still is my favorite, and I've been using it for my Vlogmas videos. It's the Canon 960. Now, this is probably maybe a 4 or 5-year-old camera, but the audio
I
on it
feel
is
like that's
perfect.
all
The video
cameras.
quality.
I feel like now, compared to, the early days, that's all people use cameras for now, unless they're like professional photographers. Then you'd see cameras like that. Well, then you'd see like large cameras like that, but for now, because sorry, I ate a lot of food today. Um, so like back in the day, people would use cameras, to take pictures, but now, in the age of the in the age of social media and YouTube and people becoming content creators, I feel like that's what people mainly use cameras for now, is either for vlogging or taking professional photos. Um, or if you're a gamer, or if you're gamers, you would use it for your webcam. Um, as I said, not every gamer has to show their face on camera.
Aren't too huge,
Um,
but if you're vlogging every day, a lot of the other ones, massive files, so I still love this camera. But if you are looking to up your quality, this is my second go-to camera. It's the Canon N, and it's this cute little square camera. It has touch screen on the back. It shoots in 1080p, and it also will connect to Wi-Fi, so you can take all of the photos and the videos that you're shooting on the go.
but yeah, see how old this video is? This video is like 7 years old.
Really, really like is the Samsung Galaxy camera. The only problem is it's kind of big, but it's pretty sweet because basically, if you've ever used an Android phone, this is essentially a phone without the phone capabilities in a camera body. So now that you've got all of these random things to make your videos, most of the time I use Final Cut Pro X. Now, a lot of people always have all these negative things to say about it unless you've actually used it and you get...
Okay. So let me just talk about Final Cut Pro 10 for a minute. I actually got Final Cut Pro 10 I had no idea how to use it whatsoever. Like, at all. I am not joking. I had no idea how to use it. It didn't work for me at all, so I kind of do have a negative view on it. It's not really my fault. It's just some editing softwares. Some editing softwares are harder to use than others. Like compared to what I do now for editing, because I use VSDC to edit my videos, and I edit my videos myself, by the way. No one edits them for me. I edit them all myself. Um, and like I pretty much do everything solo. Like I make intros myself. Like I find apps for things like intros or outros to use. I make them on my phone and then send them to my computer and would edit it in with the video and stuff like that. And honestly, I've been doing YouTube for 4 years. I wasn't able to edit because I didn't know how to edit. Well, I knew how to edit possibly, but it's just some editors are extremely difficult to use. So like in all honesty, in 2021, in my experience, I wouldn't recommend Final Cut Pro 10 because sometimes that software is really hard to use. I thought I would learn how to edit from that, but I guess not. I guess it only really works if you're I don't know, like if you're a vlogger or something. I guess that would be the only time it would actually work for you. But if not, it probably wouldn't do its job because it doesn't take a lot of files, to be honest, which is really sad. Uh because basically what I do, like, okay, compared to Windows, why a lot of people use Windows systems is because, well, for one, Windows recognizes more files than okay, Windows PCs recognizes a lot more files than, let's say, a Mac would, because Macs only recognize specific files. They don't recognize MP4 files. Um, well, they do. It's just sometimes QuickTime has a very difficult time opening up files because they don't recognize them compared to Windows, which recognizes pretty much every single file, like MOV files, MP4, all that type of stuff. But yeah, Mac is very, very limited to what files it recognizes and to what files their editor recognizes, which is why a lot of YouTubers use things like Adobe products. That's why Adobe products are so popular among YouTubers, because Adobe recognizes a lot of different types of files. And it's not that hard to use Adobe products. I learned to use Adobe products a couple years ago. And it was the best decision I've ever done in my entire life. If you're wondering, I took a class when I was in high school. I took a class in high school to learn how to use different types of software, which I actually did end up using. I don't use them right now because, Adobe's expensive. Um, Adobe is pretty pricey, but if you're thinking of like upgrading your editor or upgrading to Adobe software, I'd recommend if you have the opportunity to take a class that involves like you know like like career development classes or video or videography classes and editing classes, I recommend that you take them because you'll actually learn something that you need to know. To be honest, I wouldn't know how to use Adobe products at all, or just any product really, if I didn't have the help the of the class I took. Not to mention my icon was actually okay. So, funny story. This is a true story, by the way. My icon was actually the icon that I have for my channel now, compared to my old one, which I cannot remember what my old one was, to be honest. Like I cannot remember for the life of me what my old icon was. So when I was in high school, taking that class, it was a final project. Well, I made it a final project for myself and made my icon that you see on my channel today. So, yeah. I pretty much know how to do a lot of things, like either from taking classes or learning myself how to do things. Pretty much with YouTube, you don't really have many people teaching you. I mean, depending on what classes you take, because not a lot of, well, I don't know. Some videography courses are different than others. But yeah, if you are a content creator and wanting to do this full time, I recommend taking either classes in school for this type of thing, if it's available to you. If it is, then use it to your advantage. And then, if you don't want to go to college or something, then I suggest taking, online courses. Like, you could take courses even if you don't want to go to college for things like this, or you could learn yourself. If you want to become more advanced, take a class and then practice yourself to do all this stuff. So yeah.
Used to it for vlogging and simple edits. This is by far, it's perfect. It may come as a surprise to many of you, but I've actually started using my PC almost more than my Mac, which leads me into my gaming setup. For my gaming channel, this is
so that was like half of the video where that's like one of her setups. Okay, so a lot of YouTubers have like two different types of setups. An editing bay and then a gaming bay. I mainly use mine for both. To be honest, because I game all the time, and you need a powerful beast of a machine to run games like The Sims or whatever game that you play. And I mean, the whole stereotype that I hate in the Sims community, or from people that don't really get it, is that, you play The Sims, you're not a real gamer. And it's like, you are a real gamer. Like, it doesn't matter how, how you play a game, or how long you've been playing. Like, I've been gaming for 15 years. You know, I've been gaming for I don't know, 15, almost 16 years at this point. And to be honest, I didn't start off, well, I did. I did start off with Sims, but I I grew up gaming a lot as I grew up gaming a lot, and Sims wasn't my first video game that I've played. I played on a bunch of different consoles. I started off with console gaming, and then I moved to PC gaming a couple years later. Um and then I officially got into The Sims a couple years ago. It was over a decade ago, but who's counting?
I do it. So for game capture, this is the little guy that does pretty much all of the hard work. This is the Elgato HD game capture. So I have the USB plugged into my PC, and the HDMI in I have plugged into my Xbox. Now if you'll notice, I have 3 monitors. This is definitely not necessary at all. But this first monitor
Right.
is what I have my gameplay on. The second 2
Yeah,
monitors
it's not
are connected to my PC. From here,
it's not necessarily needed. Like literally, I feel like every YouTuber is like, "Oh, I need dual monitors." And it's like, no. Like, I mean, to be honest, I thought I needed dual monitors, but I was like, you know, I'll just go with the next best thing, which is a really good sized monitor. Especially monitors that look like the size of TVs, like not really, but monitors that are big enough that you can see from a distance. Despite you sitting at your desk, like you'd want to be able to see your monitor from, I don't know, like maybe another chair or something. From a little bit of a distance away, depending on where it is. But you can also, if you, let's say, have a TV in your office or something, like I'm gonna go with smart TVs because it's just easier. You could also use a smart TV as a second monitor. Like if you need a second monitor for anything, just use a smart TV and get the proper cables for it, and then you'll be good. But yeah, you can definitely use a TV as a second monitor. I do recommend smart TVs though because it's just easier. You can mirror your PC to your TV if you need a second monitor. Oh, I need to get more water.
Connect this headset
Yeah.
into this Astro Mix Amp, and from there I will connect the optical cable from my Xbox to the Mix Amp. I will then connect the Mix Amp to my computer. So not only will
Yeah,
I be
loads
able
of
to hear the
cords.
game audio, I'll be able to use the built-in microphone to record the voiceover for the gameplay. After that, I will switch to Logitech camera software to make sure that it's using the correct Mix Amp audio input. So it will not only be recording the Logitech video, but it will be using the audio from the microphone. What mostly matters when it comes to a lot of gameplay is the audio, so I will still use that Yeti microphone, or I will use a headset that has built-in audio. I will then start the recording process for the camera and the Xbox in the Elgato Game Capture HD software, kind of at the same time. So I play my game, I record the audio, I record the video, and then I take this all into Premiere. And from there, I sync it all up, edit it, and post it to the internet for all of you guys to enjoy. I still do all of this editing myself, and it takes a really long time. So when people
Yeah.
are like, why didn't you post any gameplay videos? It's because I've either been spending all of the time editing, or I've just been playing and not recording.
Yeah. Like, okay, people don't understand this about creators. Um you know, you may get hate comments and it's like, you know, like happens to everybody, but like you don't really understand, like if you're not in the background doing all the work, doing all the editing, and you know, all the stuff behind the scenes, you don't understand how tedious editing can be. Like, okay, there are times that I film very short videos and edit them in a bit of a while, but depending on the type of video that I film for the day, or depending on how many videos I do film for the day or for the week, because sometimes I have to pre-film stuff, editing can take me a long time. And yeah, so just be aware that not every creator wants to hire professional editors. They want to do it themselves. Like, you don't need a professional editor. Um, like, is it good to have someone edit for you? And sure, if you have the time to hire somebody and have them edit for you, but I mean, you could learn to edit yourself, and usually if it gets too much, that's when people hire professional editors to do stuff for them, to do the editing process for them, so they just have to film. But like, filming and editing takes a long time. Like, you may not understand that.
You'll notice here I have a bunch of HDMI cables that are kind of coming up behind in my little entertainment center. What I'll do is I will usually swap these out and put them into the Elgato game capture, depending upon which game system I want to capture. The monitors that I use are Asus monitors. A lot of people are always like, how can you play games on such a small screen? I prefer playing on a smaller screen. There's so much less screen lag when you're playing first-person shooters. I promise you, try playing on a massive 55-inch TV and then drop down to one of these guys. You'll be like, oh man, MLG, sign me up because I'm a pro. So this desk was my most recent purchase from IKEA. I had a nice man come and put it together for me. I can hold all of my games, all of my consoles, and my Cards Against Humanity. This is the best game in the world. I don't know if that means that I'm a terrible person, but if it does, sign me up because this game is amazing. So I've got all these files from shooting videos. What do you do with them all? Where do you store them? I'm a huge fan of these G drives purely because they look good and they match everything. There may be better hard drives out there. I actually don't know, but I stand by these drives just completely, wholeheartedly. I've never had a problem with any of them, so I've, so far, actually pretty happy.
Wonder if she still uses them to this day. As I said, this video is a couple years old, so you could upgrade from that point.
Now that I think about it, they've survived trips around the world. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm super excited to share with you guys some of my tips and tricks on how I make YouTube videos.